What's up, everyone? Um, hmm. Hmm. So, yeah, I need your advice. What's happening, everyone? Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Okay, got a couple. Want to take a couple polls here. Um, People asked me about Def Leppard, if I'm going to do any Def Leppard. So, should I do Rock of Ages or Photograph? I know it takes a second. Rock of Ages or Photograph? Which song for what makes this song great? Can't do Queen. Blockers. Photograph. Photograph. Wow. Okay. Keep going. That's it? Okay. That was my inclination. Okay. Okay, that's done. Okay. How many of you know the Guess Who? Polls over. How many of you know the Guess Who? Do you know the song No Time? I love that song. That's one of my favorite songs. When I was a kid, that was one of my favorite songs. So I thought that's a song I'll do eventually, but I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. Stevie Wonder. Hang on a minute here. Let me see here. Let me look at my list if I have what I have for Stevie Wonder. Let's see here. Higher Ground, Superstition. What do you think? Higher Ground? Mike, Robin Trower. Mike, are you really Jordan or not? Sir Duke, okay. Did I say Sir? What's the two I said? Sir Duke. Did he play all the stuff on Superstition? I'm not sure here. Higher Ground, Superstition, Sir Duke. If you had to choose one of those three, what would you do? And would Stevie Wonder do as well as Led Zeppelin? Not that it matters. I'm just curious. Man. I was going to do some chain smokers. I've been trying to look for Black Sabbath, see if I can do any Black Sabbath. They're all, songs that say that they're blockers doesn't mean that they're blockers. But really interesting. The Doors are blockers. Doors are blockers. Really, really. I have done Rush. Grok, what's up? Money for Nothing. Moody Blues. I've played Money for Nothing on here before, and it did not get blocked. Joni Mitchell, Hijira, yeah. Moody Blues. I wonder if I have. A friend of mine used to manage the Moody Blues. I love the Moody Blues. Huge fan. Genesis. Everybody keeps asking Genesis. I have no Genesis tracks. None. Zero. I already have my Pink Floyd picked out. But I'm not going to do, I'm going to do a weirder one. That's not that weird, I don't think, but. Chris, Peter Gabriel, come on, man. I already did Peter Gabriel. Frampton is definitely going to use, is definitely going to be done. I'm going to do You Feel Like We Do? It's so good. I did it for the solo, what makes a solo great, but I only did about one of the solos. Elliott Smith or Sufjan Stevens. Sufjan, my buddy Mike used to work with him, and I'll probably get some tracks from him. Okay, so so Genesis. I'm a massively big Genesis fan. I really am. And I'm not sure if Genesis, if they block or not. One of the things about Simon and Garfunkel, Paul Simon owns his own publishing, right? And so he could, he can do whatever he wants with it. Still not sure why Still not sure why Led Zeppelin did not block my video. Don't know. Really weird. The bands don't block anything. No, it's the bands, it's the labels, it's the people that own the sound recording. The labels own the sound recording. But sometimes the sound recordings revert back to the bands. Everybody's contract is different, I'm sure it can be blocked if the publishers don't want it blocked. Maybe Page is a subscriber. Okay. Now, that's okay. I'm sure Jimmy Page does not watch this channel or the other channel, but you never know. You never know. You don't know who watches it, right? I mean, maybe whoever said it, maybe their publicist watches my channel or something, or knows about it and said, you can't take down this guy's video. Let me see, ABBA. What do I have from ABBA? Let's see if there are blockers here. Sometimes I can't. The page, the page that has the music policies on YouTube is very slow. So you have to go to that page, look at it. If it says that they're a blocker, then you go to then I go to YouTube and I see if there's a lyric video by someone. And if there's a lyric video, then, or any type of videos like that, covers, you're usually pretty safe. So you're taking a chance, So I'm not sure if any members, John Paul Jones. Could be. Never know. You never know. John Paul Jones was a co-writer on that. Martin, you think the 500,000 followers may help? By the way, 512,000 now. My favorite Genesis record is Trick of the Tail. I love that record. Definitely a massively big fan of that record. If I was going to do a tune off that, I would do Entangled or Ripples. Something like that. You believe that, Martin? 512 already. I mean, I just hit 500. Dancing on a Volcano, Tom? Yes. So 512, right. Half a gigabyte. Is that right? Is that actually half a gigabyte? Come on, I know Selling England by the Pound is better. I don't know that. And I don't know Foxtrot. Steve Hackett's and Mike Rutherford's guitar work are just incredibly good on that. The melodies, what's up, Brett? The melodies are absolutely phenomenal. That's one I don't have tracks to, but one of my friends is friends with the producer, or knows the producer that produced Trick of the Tail and Wind and Weathering. I'm sure he doesn't have the tracks because there's no reason why you would have the tracks. But I would still do the song. I would still talk about the songs. I was still talking about the songs, so. Yeah, so Trick of the Tail. That's my record. That's my Genesis record. Foreigner. Louis Grammatico. That's Lou Graham's real name. He's from Rochester. He was in a band called Black Sheep in the early 70s before David Henschel. That's right, Brett. One of my friends knows him. I could get in contact with him, but like I said, he's not going to have the tracks or anything. I don't think he would have the tracks. I don't know. Kansas. I will do Kansas. I will. Rochester, Stealing Roses, Rochester representing. There you go. Follow Fish, what's up? Can I reveal the two bands that asked for their stems? No. Tori Amos. I've looked for Tori Amos. I don't know if she would have. I don't know if she would have. I don't know if she'd have her tracks. But I really love let's see here. I keep seeing Whiter Shade of Pale. I need to do that, right? That's one of the greatest songs ever. I'm not sure that that's available. What's up, Frank? Whiter Shade of Pale. What do you think? Yes. What makes this album great? Except all the biggest records, all the great records are all blockers. See, Whiter Shade of Pale, I'd have to look and see. I'd have to look on the. Basically, you have to go and see if somebody's done, if just a random person that has a few thousand subscribers has done a lyric video on Whiter Shade of Pale. That's how you can tell if it's. I mean, you got to do some research in this. I mean, I have to do research in this stuff. No. Dark Side of the Moon is not blocked, actually. A bunch of the stuff is not blocked. Everything of The Who is blocked. Is that true, Brett? Man. He had never heard of Iden. Man. Chris, how do you get your name in the special thanks to my supporters? You got to be part of the Beato Club. That's a certain level of subscriber. YouTube is U2 is a blocker. Okay, so I know more about U2 than any band out there, even though I never talk about U2 or very rarely talk about. Okay, so Whiter Shade of Pale have a couple lyric videos. Boom. There's a dude with Whiter Shade of Pale. How many views does it have, Frank? That's what I Yes, easy to find on YouTube. Okay. Yeah. If it's the original version, you have to listen and see if it's the original version that they're playing, which I'm sure it is. I mean, you know, hold on one second here. You know, I tell you, there's one with 2 million. Okay. 184,000 views. Okay, good. The Cure. I love The Cure. The Zombies. Wow. Let's see here. I'm waiting to load. Have I heard of the film composer Danny Elfman? Jack, what is it? Kind of a question is that? What do you think? I live in a cave or something? Danny Elfman? I mean, have I heard of John Williams? I saw that, Ray. I know you typed Ruck. That's okay. I've been called worse. Good to see you, Ray. Tom Schultz is not a blocker. No, not at all. You heard of Jesus? Yeah, there you go. Exactly, right? Argent. I was thinking about Argent tonight. Have I heard of Batman? Hold Your Head Up, I love. The keyboard solo is amazing in there, the organ solo. You know what's the best part of it, though? When he goes, hold your head up. Like the gliss thing he does on the organ is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's see here. Have I heard of Tony Rice? Band of Horses. Definitely no Band of Horses. Have I heard of Michael Jackson? Fernando, don't start with Soda Stereo with me, okay? Billy Joel. That's a good question about that. I was just talking about that today, whether Billy Joel's a blocker. Hold on. Anybody, if I were to do Billy Joel, I would probably do, you know, I don't know, maybe, She's Always a Woman, or, I don't know, The Entertainer, maybe, We Didn't Start the Fire. I'm not sure. There's a lot of Billy Joel songs, Piano Man, that I could do. I don't know if he's a blocker, honestly. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. New York State of Mind is that was a I want to say that on 9/11 they had a special not a blocker. Okay. When they did they did a special with a bunch of stars that played songs after 9/11, about a week later, And Billy Joel did that, New York State of Mind, and it was amazing. I want to say that's what he did. And is that what it was? For the 9/11 fundraiser. This is back in 2001. Yeah. I think Neil Young did Harvest Moon or something, or was it on Letterman? I can't remember now. It was amazing though. There was some incredible performances back then. Was it at the Garden? Yeah, that was. It's been 17 years. I told the story last night on Instagram of 9/11, my 9/11 being on a plane and being grounded in Little Rock for 2 days, but being in the air when that happened. Never forget that. That was one of the worst days of my life, as many people. But I was on a plane flying to San Francisco that I got on at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it was what's up, Peter? Peter, I got your I know I skipped topics here. I got your email, Manfred Eicher. I got a couple emails today. A couple people wrote to Manfred for me. Let me know if you hear from him. So I wrote to Matheny's publicist today, who's a publicist for None Such Records. Or I called her, left her a message. Sorry to hear that, Rick. Yeah, I was on a plane. I was flying to I was flying to San Francisco to work with a band I was going to produce, and I just sprinted to the gate. I was drenched in sweat. I remember it. It was a hot day. It was a hot Tuesday morning in September. It's a beautiful sunny day. Parked in the economy lot with my Honda Civic, and had done a session until 3 in the morning the night before. And was I recording Flicker Stick or Working Title? Not Working Title. This might have been Flicker Stick, because Flicker Stick's record came out. No. Flicker Stick was before. Their record came out on 9/11. It was a Tuesday. So it was not Flicker Stick. I don't remember who the band was that I was working with at the time, but I worked till about 3 in the morning. I sprinted. There was very little security back then. And I got on the plane. I had really bad allergies. And I took a Benadryl, I remember. Remember it like it was yesterday. And I fell asleep and woke up to the captain saying, "Excuse me, but we have to make an emergency landing." And woken up, and you're at 35,000 feet on a sunny day, and the captain says we have to make an emergency landing. He doesn't say anything else other than that. And we flew for 45 minutes. We circled cornfields outside Little Rock with nothing except the flight attendants putting drink carts in front of the cockpit door for some reason. And they were terrified looking. Apparently, I assumed that the captain probably told the flight attendants on the phone that to block the cockpit door. I'm thinking there's something wrong with the plane, and I was terrified, you know. But there wasn't anything. We were banking over these fields and just doing circles. I'm thinking, are they dumping fuel? What is going on here? What is going on? I did not have a beard then, Frank. There was about 60 people on the plane, but it was a huge plane. You know, it was like the planes flying out of Boston and New York that were full of fuel, and they were flying cross country. I'm not trying to make any comparison. I'm just saying that you know, there was the flight was happening right at the same time as that happened. Finally, we see the city and we start to descend, and they don't say anything until we landed. And as soon as we landed, the captain said, for those of you that have cell phones, you should call your family and let them know you're okay. There have been 2 planes have hit the World Trade Center. You will remember all aviation in the United States has been grounded. You will remember where you were. He said something like, "You'll remember where you were today." I called my parents, and I called my parents as soon as we landed. I opened up my what is this? What is this? The molar. Goodbye, bro. So I called my parents. They said, yeah, a plane just hit the Pentagon too. And the people said, the Pentagon? Because after he said the World Trade Center. And I went into the terminal and everyone was glued to the TVs. And I saw I watched the first building come down. And in '94, I worked at the, I worked bartending on a boat. I've told this story, a boat that went around Manhattan 2 hours a night. And I got off at the World Trade Center. And, oh, you work there now, Nick? Wow. And I would get out, that's cool. And I would get out and I'd walk over to the pier where the boat docked. And I would always look up at the buildings and always think about just how immense they were. Just immense. And the idea when I saw them come down and from hundreds of times standing right there and looking up, and I'd been in those buildings, I'd been in the basement or in the ground floor of them many times, you know, been up in the towers. I couldn't wrap my head around that. One of my really good friends lived in Soho, and he could see everything there. He was near it. I have two friends that one of them owned a restaurant in Soho, and she died of cancer last year. And I had a friend that lived down in Union Square, and he died of cancer in 2011 at 51. I don't know if it was related to that, but they were sure down there a lot. Um, so I knew I wasn't going to get out of town. I took a taxi while people were watching the TVs. I got in a taxi and I went to a Hampton Inn about, I don't know, 5 minutes from the airport. I got a room, one of the last rooms, and I sat for 2 days in a hotel and watched TV, just in disbelief, just like everyone else. I rented a car. Then I rented a car and I drove home 11 hours, and it was the most eerie drive. Um, um, I I'll never forget the next time I went to Manhattan. So I moved to Atlanta from Manhattan. I lived in the East Village, you know. Um, and I'll never forget the next time I was in New York driving, uh, coming in from New Jersey and not seeing the Twin Towers. And it was unfathomable that those buildings were gone. It was just unfathomable that is just, yeah, man. Um, Eric, you're right. So that was part of the drive home. Um, what that there was no that week when there was nothing in the air, eerie silence. Um, you don't remember 9/11, Jack? Were you alive then? Um, yeah, the firefighters and the policemen that rushed into the buildings. Um, mm, just just crushing, crushing. Um, I mean, I'd spent so much time down there. Um, and you're right, Ray. Of the 3,000 fatalities, so many more, um, so many more that died um, of cancer, of cancers and things related to that. Um, anyways, so today we remember them. I do every year. I know that there's, we're coming up on a generation. Um, we're coming up on a generation that, that will pass, and eventually people like my children won't have any comprehension of what that was like. My parents lived through World War II and the Depression. I knew people that lived through the Depression, and that changes your perspective on life. I really believe. I knew many people that fought in World War II. Many relatives, so many relatives. Um, I I knew people that fought in World War One when I was a kid. There was people around that fought in World War One. Old people. I had I remember my grandmother telling me about people dying in the influenza in 1918, the year before my dad was born. I remember my mom's mom, my grandma Domino, telling me that um, that people died on their street. Many people died. They died all over the place. 50 million people. Um, my godfather fought on the beaches at Normandy. But polio, scarlet fever, Ronnie, you're right. All those things. You know, no antibiotics. My mom's brother died at 17 of a impacted tooth. He went to the dentist. He got an infection. Died at 17. Penicillin was invented 3 months later. There's something about, when I went to visit my mom after she had a stroke. My mom had a stroke. She lived to be 90, almost 91, 90 and a half. She had a stroke at 89. She lived on her own. And she had a stroke on Mother's Day with all my siblings sitting around her at the kitchen table. Mom, are you all right? I wasn't there. I was down here. And I remember them calling me. I talked to my mom that morning. And she sounded like she did every morning. I talked to my mom every morning. She said every day for probably the last 2 years of my mom's life, she would send an email out to all my brothers and sisters saying that she's okay. Every morning we got an email from my mom saying she's okay, except for that morning. The morning that she had the stroke. So I went to visit her. One of the times I went to visit her, so she was in a nursing home right up the street from our house for the last year of her life. Almost a year to the day. But I went to, on Veterans Day, I went to the nursing home. I was up there that weekend in the fall. And, when was Veterans Day? When is Veterans Day? Block that guy? Oh, yeah. Controlled demolition. Clown is right. Clown. It just 11/11. Okay, that's when I was there. Okay, so in November. And there were all these World War II veterans that were talking. And it was incredible to hear the stories. Oh man, there are all these people in their 90s that were at the nursing home. Contemporaries of my mom. And it was just incredible. They were the stories I heard growing up. For the people that would talk about it, most of my uncles and people that I knew that were of that age didn't talk about. People that fought in Europe didn't talk about it. It was the greatest generation. Anyways, so I'm glad we talked about this tonight. I wasn't even going to come on, but respect. Frank, that is a good kind of homework. The more action they saw, the less they talked. That's right, Electric Hillbilly. That's exactly right. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, Peter, you know what I'm talking about. All right. I have new stuff coming out tomorrow. My dad would have been 99 this year. He was born in 1919. Be 99 and a half. His 100th birthday will be in February. Paisan, Joey. There you go. Oh, man. Trauma is worth remembering. Trauma is rarely worth remembering. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone.